Hey there, I'm Gabby. Welcome to my free masterclass, 10 Ways to Speak English Like a Native Speaker. In today's class, I'm going to teach you 10 tips that will have you sounding more and more like a native speaker. In this masterclass, you're going to learn how to build your confidence. You're also going to learn pronunciation, speaking, and vocabulary strategies that are going to help you improve quickly. Whenever I ask my students what their language goals are, 90% of the time I hear them say, Gabby, I want to sound like an American. I want to speak like an American. I don't want to have an accent. And I always tell them, sounding like a native speaker is not as important as having a high level and high understanding of English. But I understand why students want to sound like natives. English is the fastest growing language in the world, and speaking English can open doors for you into dream jobs that you've wanted forever, into changing the economic status for you and your family. Learning English can help you with your educational goals, but more importantly, learning English can help you fit in, feel more comfortable around English speakers. And for some of you, it can minimize bullying and people making fun of your accent. My goal for you is that you become confident English speakers, not worried or embarrassed when you talk to other English speakers. That's my goal for you with this masterclass. But I do want you to understand that there's nothing wrong with having an accent. In fact, everyone who speaks English has an accent. I have a New York accent, and I'm proud of it. So if you sound Turkish, sound Japanese, sound Brazilian, that's okay. My goal is to help you sound more and more like a native speaker, but also to elevate your vocabulary, speaking, and grammar skills. For those of you who don't know me, let me introduce myself. I'm Gabby, and I was born and raised in New York City. For the past 10 years, I've been an English teacher here in New York City, teaching thousands of students how to improve their English. I'm a very social person, so it's very important for me to teach students social English as well. I want you to be able to have advanced level conversations in any kind of social situation that you might experience with English speakers. The American accent and the American style of speaking are my specialties, so that's what I'm going to teach you today. I'm not going to teach you an academic TOEFL or IELTS version of English. I'm going to teach you regular standard English that you can use in any English situation. Of course, some of the tips that I teach will definitely help you if you need an academic level of English. But my goal is to help you communicate with people, not to pass a test. Don't forget that I do have a PDF version of this masterclass so that you can study and practice more. Are you ready to get started? Here we go. Number 1 is be confident. If you have good vocabulary, good pronunciation, good grammar, but you don't have confidence, you're not going to be able to sound like a native speaker. But did you know that having confidence and a positive attitude will help you become more like a native speaker? If you have confidence, the amount of mistakes that you make in English decreases because you're sure of yourself. When we are not sure of ourselves, we make more and more mistakes. Self-doubt leads to mistakes. And guess what? If you're confident and you still make mistakes, you won't even care. You will continue to communicate in English. That's why before you improve any other skill, you need to improve your confidence. So first, I'm going to teach you 5 tips on how to improve your confidence. Number 1, smile and nod and ask questions. There will always come a time where you have no idea what someone is saying to you in English. In fact, this even happens to native speakers if you're speaking to someone from another part of the country or if we're speaking to someone who's using a lot of slang that we don't know. So what do you do when this happens? Because you don't want to say, "Excuse me, can you slow down?" You don't want to say that, and you don't want to say, "What? I don't understand." So you're going to smile, nod your head, and say things like, "Oh, really? Cool. Wow." But let me teach you a huge secret in how to get through conversations like this. You want to use echo questions. If you don't know what an echo question is, let me teach you. Basically, an echo question is when someone tells you something, you pick one word from that sentence and then ask it in question form. For example, "My name is Gabby." Gabby. Just like that. See, in American English and American culture, we have to ask follow-up questions. If you're having a conversation with someone and you don't ask any follow-up questions, it's considered rude because it means that you don't care what the other person is saying. So if you want to fit in and seem like a native speaker, you have to ask follow-up questions. So echo questions are a great way to do that. Here's an example. "Hey, I'm leaving for Portugal this weekend." "Portugal?" "Yeah, I'm going with my family." "Your family?" "Yeah, my mom, my dad, and my 2 sisters." "Wow, that's amazing." You see what just happened? You just had a conversation and all you did was use echo questions. Here's another example. "Guess what, Jenny? I'm learning Italian." "Italian?" "Yeah, I'm so excited. You see, I just started dating an Italian guy." "An Italian guy?" "Yeah, his name is Marco, and he's from Rome." "Wow, Rome?" "Yeah, he's from Rome. Have you ever been there?" "No, I haven't, but I plan to go soon." There you go. Again, you just had a conversation, and all you did was ask echo questions. Also, this makes the person you're talking to think that you're really, really interested in what they have to say. So you see, for us, when we ask questions, we sound excited or we say, "Wow, oh." So make sure that you use this strategy because it's really, really helpful for conversation. Tip number 2, make eye contact. I know that every culture is different, but in American culture, eye contact is important. If you're talking to someone and you're looking at the floor, you're looking to the side, you're not looking directly at them, it's very rude. Not only is it rude, but it's suspicious. So if I'm having a conversation with someone and they're not looking me in the eye, I think they're a little bit suspicious, like they're hiding something, like they're not an honest person. So make sure that you use eye contact because eye contact communicates confidence. When someone is diverting their eyes, meaning they're not making eye contact, it's also a sign that you are lacking confidence. So make eye contact and you will seem more confident instantly. Tip number 3, speak at the right speed and volume. If you're talking too fast like this, people might not understand you. What I just said was, if you're speaking too fast, too quickly, people aren't going to understand you. Yes, it's true. Native speakers often speak quickly, but when we speak quickly, people still understand us. We don't speak too quickly. So make sure you're not speaking too quickly, but also make sure that you're not speaking too slowly either, because if you speak too slowly, guess what's going to happen? People are going to get annoyed or they're going to lose interest in what you're saying. Also, if you speak too low like this, no one will hear you. But if you speak too loud, people are going to be like, "Oh my goodness." Now, I know what you might be thinking. Americans speak loudly. Yes, we do. In fact, I always tell my husband when we're traveling to another country, we can always tell who is American by who's speaking the loudest. Americans do speak loudly often, but maybe you should not speak as loudly. So here's what you're going for. Speak at a medium speed and a medium volume. Tip number 4 is so important. Don't apologize for your English. Oftentimes, when I speak to students, they say, I'm sorry for my English. My English is so bad. Oh, I'm so sorry my English isn't better. Don't say this. Here's why. If I tell you, I'm sorry my English isn't good, automatically your level is gonna go down in the other person's mind. The other person is going to doubt your English abilities before you even have a conversation. So don't do this. Here's the thing to remember. English is the fastest growing language in the world. So, do you know what that means? That means that around the world, there are more non-native speakers than native speakers. So most people who speak English will have a non-native accent. For most Americans, we are used to speaking to people who are just learning English. We don't care if your English is bad. We just appreciate that you're trying to learn English. In fact, most native speakers will help you or correct you if you ask them to. So don't apologize for your English. Instead, just start speaking. My 5th tip, don't worry about sounding perfect. Like I just said in point number 4, most people don't expect you to be perfect. In fact, most Americans don't even speak perfectly. Speaking with Americans, you're going to find out that so many of us make grammar mistakes. Just remember that you being bilingual, you speaking more than one language, is such an amazing skill. So don't worry about sounding perfect. However, you do want to make sure that you are easy to understand. Your goal shouldn't be perfection. Your goal should be what we call in English intelligibility. This means the ability to be understood. So if you get into a car service or a taxi, or if you're ordering something at a store, of course, it's important that people understand you. So don't worry about sounding perfect. Just do your best to be understood. Tip number 1 was all about how you can build your confidence. Now that you're on your way to being more confident, let's continue with the 9 other tips on how to sound like a native speaker. Tip number 2, use contractions. Some of you may not know what a contraction is. A contraction is just when you combine more than one word together. For example, I cannot becomes I can't. I will not changes to I won't. Would not becomes wouldn't. They have becomes they've. Something to know about Americans is that we always want to find the shortest, easiest way to do everything. Efficiency is really important in our culture, and our language is no different. So we all use contractions all the time. So if you don't ever use contractions, it's really obvious that you're a student of English. Let me give you an example. Imagine if you go outside and you say, I think it will rain today. That's super, super formal, and we would never say that. What we would say instead is, I think it's gonna rain today. First, notice that I switched from will to going to because I made a prediction based on evidence. Also, I made going to into gonna. I think it's gonna rain today. I cannot go to your party tonight. I apologize. Nope. I'm so sorry. I can't go to your party tonight. If you're not sure about where to start with contractions, here's an easy solution. Just start with to be. I'm, you're, he's, she's, it's, we're, there. Start with these, and then as you become more comfortable, you can start contracting other words like have or had and modals. Number 3, connect your speech. This one is really important. Similar to using contractions, we like to connect words and sounds so that we can say things more quickly. There are a few different ways to connect your speech, and I'm going to briefly tell you about each of them. The first way to link is with catenation. This is when the last consonant of one word, consonants meaning non-vowels, connect with the first vowel in the next word. What this does is removes the pause between words and pushes the words together. For example, what are you doing tonight? 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 He'll arrive this evening. He'll arrive this evening. He'll arrive this evening. He'll arrive this evening. Notice here it happens in two parts of the sentence. He'll arrive this evening. Is she coming? Is she coming? Is she coming? Is she coming? The next method is called plosion. Plosion is when the last sound of one word is the same as the first sound of the other word. For example, she drives a black car. She drives a black car. She drives a black car. Black car. Last sound and first sound are the same. She drives a black car. She drives a black car. So it becomes black car, not black car. They walked to Central Park. Walked to. They walked to Central Park. They walked to Central Park. They walked to Central Park. Can you guys come here next time? Can you guys come here next time? Can you guys come here next time? Come here next time. Can you guys come here next time? The next way is through what we call elision. Elision is when we lose the last phoneme or the last sound of a word. This typically happens with words that end with T or D. T, D. Looked behind. Looked behind. Look behind. Stand back. Stand back. Stand back. Must give. Must give. Must give. Left behind. Left behind. Left behind. Notice in all of these words, the final T or D is completely lost. Let's practice. Looked behind becomes look behind. Now you say it. Stand back becomes stand back. Now you say it. Stand back. Great. Must give becomes must give. Now you say it. Great. Left behind becomes left behind. Left behind. Another way to connect our speech is through intrusion. This is when an extra sound is added between two words when we combine them. We add an extra sound in order to make it easier to say. Often we add the y, r, or w sound. For example, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. I am not serious. I am not serious. I am not serious. Notice the Y sound that's added. I'm not serious. I go out every night. I go out every night. I go out every night. Notice the W sound added here. There is a storm coming tomorrow. There is a storm coming tomorrow. There is a storm coming tomorrow. Notice the R sound that was added. The last way is called assimilation. This is when a new sound is created, when two words combine. We'll greet you at the door. 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 Ch. I'll meet you later. I'll meet you later. I'll meet you later. I'll meet you later. Ch. Did you see Titanic? Did you see Titanic? Did you see Titanic? Did you see Titanic? J. Also, don't forget the two main words that we contract in English. Want to becomes wanna. Going to becomes gonna. Hey, I'm gonna go to the movies tonight. You wanna come? I'm gonna go to the movies tonight. You wanna come? Number 4 is soften your T's. Now, this is specifically for American English. So if you start using this tip, you will sound way more like an American. One of the biggest differences between British English and American English is the T sound. For example, British people really pronounce their T. Cater. Actually, cater, potato, party. Notice the hard T. I've noticed that a lot of students use this hard T as well. Americans, however, soften their T's. For example, cater, potato, tomato, party. Listen to the differences. Cater, cater. Potato, potato. Tomato, actually they would say tomato, tomato, tomato. Party, party. We love to change the T to D when it's in the middle of a word. That's why potato has the first T that's hard and the second T that's like a D. Normally we don't do back-to-back D sounds. We do hard T and then soft T. In American English, we do use a hard T sound at the end also. Saint, paint, quaint, faint. Number 5, this next one is a big one. Focus on the R sound. One of the most difficult sounds in English is the R sound. In American English, we have rounded R's, which means you really want to pronounce the R's anytime you see them. In British English, they often ignore the R's, which makes British English a little bit easier for most students. Let me show you how your mouth is supposed to look when you make an R. R, R. Notice your mouth is round. R. Your lips have to come out. R. R, R. Red, real. Really? Heart. Art. Cater, aren't you? Park. Notice the rounded R's. Do you want to hear how British people say these sounds? Hot, ought, aren't you? Cater, park. I know. Americans say it better. What can I say? Just kidding, kind of. Tip number 6, focus on the TH sound. I need you to listen closely here, and I need this to be one of the biggest things you focus on. The TH, the th sound is the hardest English sound to say. Most countries struggle with this sound. There's only 2 language groups that I can think of right now that don't have a difficult time with that sound. That is Spanish speakers and Italians. Most other language groups that I teach have a hard time with this sound. This sound is very unique and it doesn't exist in most languages. When you make the TH sound, your tongue should be outside of your mouth. The. That's the main problem that I come across often with students. Most students will say the. Nope, the. Make sure your tongue is sticking out. Here's a little test. Take your finger, put it in front of your mouth, let it touch your lips. Okay? The. If your tongue touches your finger when you say the TH sound, you're saying it correctly. However, if you don't feel the finger and the tongue touch, that means you're saying the instead of the. So stick out your tongue, the. And I want you to practice the following sentences at home after you watch this, because this feels very strange for most of you, so you really have to practice as much as you can. Let's practice. First, we'll do single words. This, 3, think. This, 3, think. Let's do some sentences now. The first thing they think of is this. The first thing they think of is this. The first thing they think of is this. Some theories believe there to be things out there. Some theories believe there to be things out there. Some theories believe there to be things out there. Thirsty throats find things to drink. Thirsty throats find things to drink. Some things find themselves. Some things find themselves. Some things find themselves. I saw 33 thieves on Thursday. I saw 33 thieves on Thursday. I saw 33 thieves on Thursday. Maybe this isn't the best technique because after this, you're never going to want to make the TH sound again. The next few tips are all about vocabulary and what kind of vocabulary will help you sound like a native speaker. Oftentimes, I hear students speaking, and the vocabulary that they use is very formal. For example, I once had a student say, "Gabby, do you believe in phantoms?" And I said, "Phantoms?" I said, "Do you mean ghosts?" And they said, yeah, ghosts. So I told them not to use the word phantom because phantom is very formal. It's like an old word that no one uses anymore unless we're talking about the Broadway musical, Phantom of the Opera. So I always encourage students to make sure that they're using as many informal words as possible. One of the ways to do that is by using phrasal verbs. I can't tell you how important it is to use phrasal verbs. If you don't know what a phrasal verb is, it's basically a verb and a particle or a preposition that's combined to make a new word. For example, look into. You could actually say look into the classroom, meaning that you're looking into the classroom. But really, when we say look into as a phrasal verb, we mean to research. For example, I'll look into the problem for you tomorrow. I'll help you, I'll research, I'll try to find the answer for you. Americans love phrasal verbs so much, we use them all day, every day. I've probably used a ton while shooting this video, and maybe you noticed or maybe you didn't, but we love phrasal verbs. Let me give you an example. Hey, I think Monica likes you. You should ask her out. This is how we use phrasal verbs. Ask out. Instead of saying, hey, I think Monica likes you. You should ask her to go to dinner with you. Which one is easier? Definitely using ask out, which means to ask someone to go on a romantic date with you. Hey, are Ryan and Stacy together? I saw them making out at the party last night. Hey, are Ryan and Stacy together? I saw them kissing really passionately at the party last night. Of course, between these two sentences, the one with make out is better because the definition of make out is kissing passionately, and kissing passionately is much longer to say than make out. The thing about phrasal verbs that's really overwhelming for students is that there are so many of them. Aside from that, one phrasal verb can have 4, 5, 6, even 7 different meanings. And guess what? New meanings are being added to phrasal verbs all the time. Let me give you an example. Let's take the phrasal verb turn on. Right away, I can think of 4 meanings of the word turn on. I'm going to give you some sentences. Try to figure out the meaning through context, and then I'll tell you what the meanings are. Hey, can you please turn on the light? In this context, turn on means to ignite, to add power to something, to activate. I'm asking you to turn the lights from off to on. What about this sentence? That beautiful woman turned him on as soon as he saw her. What do you think turn on means in this sentence? In this sentence, turn on means to get someone physically or sexually excited. That's why in so many songs in English, they have the word turn on. You turn me on, she turns me on, he turns me on, the list goes on. We have so many different songs that have this phrasal verb in it. My friend Sandra turned me on to Korean food, and now I love it. What do you think turn on means in this sentence? In this sentence, turn on means to get someone interested in something that they weren't interested in before. So this person had never tried Korean food, and their friend introduced them to it, and now they love it. You can also use this for TV shows. I was never interested in Stranger Things, but my teacher, Gabby, turned me on to it. That means I got you interested in seeing Stranger Things, but more about Stranger Things a little bit later. Jihye turned on her country by revealing military secrets to a foreign government. What do you think it means here? In this sentence, turn on means to betray someone. He turned on me. They turned on me. They betrayed me. This is why when you hear phrasal verbs, you shouldn't look them up in the dictionary or translator. You have to listen to their context because most of them have more than one meaning. You might be asking yourself, how can I learn phrasal verbs if there are so many different contexts? I'm really glad you asked. The best way to learn phrasal verbs is to spend time with people who speak English. Now, I know that that's not easy for most of you, so what's the alternative? American TV and cinema. I want to add 2 more types of vocabulary that will take your level of English from here to here. Did you guess what those are? Slang and idioms. Americans love to use idioms. If you don't know what an idiom is, it's basically an expression that has kind of a symbolic meaning. You have idioms in your language too. In English, most of our idioms are from years ago, so it's really difficult to figure out what they mean. For example, hey, who spilled the beans about my pregnancy? What does this mean? This means who told my secret? Who told people about my pregnancy? Then there's slang. I want you to listen closely because a lot of students are scared of slang. Many students out there think that slang is only for teenagers who are in high school. That's not the case. Slang is everywhere. It's used on TV, it's used at your job, sometimes it's even used on academic tests. The reason why is because slang becomes a part of language. For example, the word selfie. Selfie never existed more than 10 years ago, but now it's in Webster's dictionary because it's used so often. A word isn't slang anymore if everyone uses it. Of course, you should never use slang in any type of writing or in any kind of academic setting or a test. However, if you ever want to effectively be able to communicate with Americans or any type of native speakers, you have to know slang. If you've ever watched a TV show, you know that they use so many different types of slang and idioms. If you want to learn some American slang, I have 2 resources for you. Number 1, go check out my video on my YouTube channel. That's called 50 American Slang Words. In this, I go through 50 popular slang words that I know you've heard before. Aside from that, on my Instagram account and on my TikTok account, I teach lots and lots of slang every single week. So follow along and go learn some slang. Like I said before, with phrasal verbs, the most effective way to learn phrasal verbs, slang, and idioms is to hang out with Americans or any other types of native speakers from an English-speaking country. However, since most of you can't do that on a daily basis, the best thing to do is to get input. Input is hearing and seeing, reading, anything that you take in that's English. The easiest way to do this is by listening to English podcasts, by watching American TV, and by watching American movies. If you're not sure where to start, watch an episode of Friends or an episode of How I Met Your Mother. Over on my Instagram page, I have a video that teaches English through the first episode of How I Met Your Mother. I'll link that video in the resource section. You can also check out my video on English through Stranger Things on my YouTube channel. Stranger Things is a really great show that's free for you on Netflix. I also teach lots of idioms on my YouTube channel, Instagram page, and on my TikTok. So follow me and you'll learn tons of these types of vocabulary. Tip number 9, listen and repeat. Learning English is made up of 2 things. Input and output. Input is what you hear, what you read, and output is what you write and what you say. Improving your English has to be a balance of both. This is why so many people don't speak a language that they learned. For example, here in the USA, the way we learn language is we just sit there, listen to our teacher talk, and write. We don't really communicate effectively. This is why you need to practice what you learn. You need about 30 minutes to an hour of good input per day in order to improve. So here's what I suggest. Every day, pick one form of English input. It can be an interview, a TV show, a movie, whatever you want. Listen to it. Then after you listen to it, try to repeat some of the things that they say. Play it, pause, repeat. Keep doing this. And then even record yourself so that you can hear how it is you're speaking and you can compare it to what you heard. My last tip, tip number 10, learn how to talk about controversial topics. Okay, this one you might be saying, Gabby, what? Something you need to know about Americans, you've probably seen this on TV. We love controversy. When we get together with our friends, we talk about controversial topics. We have the ability in our culture to talk a lot about different points and then be friends right after. For example, politics. There are so many friends that I get together with. We have differing political views. We talk and debate, and then after that, that's it. We go right back to being friends. The same is true with sports, TV shows, any kind of controversial topic. You have to know how to talk about that. The main reason why is because we talk about these things all the time. Go to any American party, American get-together, go to a friend's house, watch what people talk about on TV shows, and you'll understand we love talking about controversial topics in a respectful way. So make sure that you're not too scared to talk about controversial topics. My recommendation would be to listen to some kind of American news podcast where you can hear what kind of topics are being spoken. I will do some videos on my YouTube about controversial topics, but in the meantime, try to take in as much international news input as you can so that you can learn how to use controversial topics. Well, there you have it. That is the end of this masterclass. Thank you so much for joining me here. If you follow each of these 10 steps consistently, you will find that your level of English increases. Make sure to check out the resource section because I have some resources that I mentioned that will really help you even more. Thanks so much for tuning into my masterclass. Be on the lookout for more masterclasses like this in the future. If you have any questions, feel free to send me a message or shoot me an email. See you later.